Stats Report Week 4. Welcome back. My name is Justin. I want to change these videos up a little bit to be a little bit more topical and subject-centered. So, today, we're going to talk about how and why Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the National Football League right now. There's a lot of things that are going right for Saquon Barkley. He's in a very, very good situation when it comes to, I think this is the best offensive line that he's had in his entire career. Still don't think that's saying much. There's still parts of the offensive line that is struggling in some facets, but the best run blocking offensive line of his career, I think that's fair to say. And also, I think Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll are doing a good job putting him in the right situation to be successful. But the biggest but of them all is Saquon Barkley is not just proving that he's having a comeback year, he is proving that right now, this is the best version of himself that we have seen, and this even includes his really, really good season that he had in 2018. So let's break down how and why Saquon Barkley is having the best season of his career so far. I want to start off with looking at his next-gen carry charts. Now, this isn't even necessarily looking at look at those big plays, look at the green that's in this chart where it's going for 5+ yards, 10+ yards. I want you to look at the lack of red. The lack of red in these charts, which basically is looking at the lack of negative plays that Saquon Barkley has taken so far this year. Almost 25% of Saquon Barkley's rushing attempts last year either went for 0 yards or negative yards. That's not good. That's not good. And so many negative plays, especially when teams choose to run the ball, derails an offense, and it derailed the Giants' offense last year. There were a lot of things that derailed the Giants' offense last year, but Saquon Barkley was one of those things, just not being reliable. And also that offensive line obviously was not good too. All these things work hand in hand. It's not just black or white. But I want to give Saquon Barkley credit for not taking negative plays, because even throughout 2018, 2019, there would be times where you would have the 15, 20+ yard plays, you would have the big touchdowns, but there would also be times where drives would be derailed because if you're choosing to run the ball on 1st and long, if you're choosing to run the ball on 2nd and long, and then you take a negative play or there's a net 0 gain, that's bad. Look at the lack of red that is present in Saquon Barkley's season so far. That's a lack of negative plays, and that is awesome. And that is the first thing that I want to start out this video with, not just looking at the big plays and the fun plays, the exciting plays, the highlight plays, because this is the stuff that's important, especially for a Giants team that really needs any kind of help that they can get offensively on early downs. So I want to give Saquon Barkley the credit there that he deserves for helping this Giants offense stay on schedule, because that's what you want to do when you choose to run the ball. Stay on schedule. Now let's talk about those big plays. Every Saquon Barkley run of 10+ yards through the first 4 games of the season. That's what I'm showing up on the screen right now. There are 12 total runs that are here. Barkley has a total of 17 first downs on rushing attempts this year. Last year, he had a total of 27 in 13 games. So give him another 2-3 games, Saquon Barkley is going to have more first downs on rushing attempts through maybe the first 5-6 games of the season. Let's say 6. 6 games through the season than he did all of last year, which is really bizarre, really wild. Good on Saquon Barkley. Moving the chains, right? Moving the chains, staying on schedule. That's what you have to do when you run the ball in the NFL, and that's what Saquon Barkley is doing. And then including, especially on that 68-yarder, that's the 3rd longest carry in the NFL so far this year. That's doing a little bit more than just staying on schedule. That's putting 7 points on the board yourself. So Saquon also leads the NFL in carries, so you can look at that saying, well, the reason why Saquon's leading the NFL in yards is because he's leading the NFL in most attempts. That's not necessarily true. He's 10th in the NFL in yards per attempt with running backs with at least 27 attempts, so he's being efficient with his carries as well. Yards before contact, which is mainly an offensive line stat, it's the highest of Saquon Barkley's career. So it's good on the O-line, and then I also say good on the scheme. I feel like Mike Kafka, Brian Daboll have given him opportunities to kind of go outside zone, outside the tackles, which we haven't seen Saquon do that much throughout his career. I feel like that is optimizing Saquon Barkley's strengths. But mainly what I want to look at, what I am most impressed with Saquon Barkley's season so far, even outside of the not taking a lot of negative plays, he is 7th in the NFL right now in yards after contact per attempt. But he is leading the NFL in yards after contact, just volume-wise, by 16 yards. Josh Jacobs is in second and is only one of 3 running backs in the NFL right now to have over 200 yards after contact. We did not see Saquon Barkley. His yards after contact last year was really, really low, tremendously low. So the fact that Saquon Barkley is back in that regard and he is better than ever is absolutely awesome. The ability to kind of break a tackle, or even not even break tackles, because Saquon doesn't have that many broken tackles so far this year. But when he makes contact with guys, he's driving his feet. He's getting additional yards, pushing the pile. There's a couple of the runs that you see in 10 plus yards where guys are trying to arm tackle him, breaks a big run, or he's pushing the pile. That stuff is awesome. And it's the difference between sometimes winning games, losing games, a first down, a third down, second and long, whatever the case may be. 2 other metrics that I also like to look at as well. This is next-gen metrics, rushing yards over expected per attempt, and they have an efficiency metric, which basically tries to evaluate and measure how much of a north-south runner is a running back. Saquon Barkley right now is 5th in the NFL in rushing yards over expected per attempt, and he is 4th in the NFL in the efficiency next-gen metric. I love it. Rushing yards over expected per attempt, that is one of those stats, very few stats, that is running back centered. How is a running back going to put their own individual stamp on a game that is outside of the offensive line effectiveness? Because what the next-gen data is able to do, they're able to determine what is the expected amount of yards that a running back is supposed to get on a certain carry, and then what does the running back actually get on a certain play. So the fact that Saquon Barkley is averaging the 5th best rushing yards over expected per attempt, that means to me one of the best running backs in the NFL. And there's other metrics that back up why Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL right now. 4th in the NFL in efficiency, north-south runner. That is what we've been asking Saquon Barkley to do since he's been a rookie. We've been asking him to be a little bit more of a north-south runner. And I feel like he's become more of a north-south runner this year without sacrificing, obviously, the big play potential. So yeah, Saquon's really good. One of the best running backs in the NFL. Wanted to talk about it. Got the metrics out there. So now let's move on to the explosive play report. We're still going to do those in these stat reports, but we're going to do it at the end of the video. So the explosive play report from week 4. The Giants had 2 20-plus yard plays, both runs, the 21-yard touchdown run by Daniel Jones and the 29-yard run by Saquon Barkley. They had 2 passes of 15-plus yards, none to wide receivers, and they had 8 runs of 10-plus yards. Barkley had a total of 5 plays of 11 or more yards, producing plays of 10-plus yards in old-school fashion in these retro uniforms. Marcus Mosher came out with a chart this week that counts how many 10-plus rushing plays teams have and then how many passing plays of 20-plus yards teams have. This was extremely helpful because Sharp Football Stats, at least I can't find the explosive play tracking that they would do every single week for the last couple years since 2016. They're not doing it this year. So the fact that Marcus Mosher put this out with the rest of the 32 teams as well is extremely very helpful. The Giants, he's counted 25 10-plus rushing yard plays. That would have them tied for first in the NFL in the most 10-plus yard rushing plays this season. I actually counted 26 10-plus yard rushing plays. I think the rushing play that everyone is forgetting about is Gary Brightwell's 10-plus yard rushing play that he had against Carolina. I think that play is like being forgotten. So I really do think that unless he counted wrong for the Cleveland Browns, I think the Giants are leading the league right now with the most 10-plus yard rushing plays, which is awesome, which is cool. But the Giants are last in the NFL right now in reception plays of 20-plus yards with 4. The second to last team is the Chicago Bears. They have 8. So that's bad. I mean, the Giants are counteracting their lack of explosive plays in the passing game with a solid running game. However, conventional drop-back passing, that is something that this team is eventually going to need to do, and hopefully with Wan'Dale Robinson getting a little bit more healthy, even though I'm not really banking on him, I still do think Richie James should be getting reps ahead of Wan'Dale Robinson. Is Kadarius Toney even going to be a thing? At this point, I'm just kind of crossing my fingers, hoping for anybody to come back with this wide receiver depth chart so we can get some more explosive plays or even just have that element of the offense present. Because I do think it was somewhat present the first 2 weeks of the season, just had some missed Daniel Jones opportunities. But the last 2 weeks, Jones has played a lot better, and especially producing those plays of 10-plus yards, 15-plus yards on the ground. I'll take it any way we can get it. So that's a stats report. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you like the new look, new version of the stats report video, a little bit shorter. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about London. We'll talk about Green Bay. Hopefully another win. Hopefully Daniel Jones plays. We'll see. Peace. Thanks for watching.